And a very good morning to you. Today I'm in the small Hertfordshire village of Pirton, and I'm going to take a circular walk of approximately 5 miles to the Bedfordshire village of Shillington, going out and back via 2 different footpath routes. Minimal roads on this. As you can see, I'm on a road now in the centre of the village near the Fox Public House, which is a great place to start and finish any journey. It's early in the morning, so I'm not expecting to see too many people about today. But obviously this walk can be done in daylight hours, any time of the day. So we're just going to head out towards the village and we'll reach the footpath fairly shortly along the Shillington Road in Pirton. So I'm in the centre of Pirton at the moment. That's the village hall. That's the high street leading back to the shop, the Fox Public House. And now we're leading down to Shillington Road, just past the school. Yeah, once you reach the end of the high street, you come to the little junction here. Off to the right there leads off to Holwell, and to the left onto Shillington Road, which we'll take, and we'll soon come to the public footpath, which will take us over the fields to Shillington. And once you get a couple of 100 yards down Shillington Road, you come to the public footpath. Signs kind of hidden slightly by the hedge at the moment. There are also signs on the side of this barn. And in fact, that arrow there is pointing us towards the public footpath that we will come back on from Shillington. The beginning of it is just down the road here, or the end of it, as is the case today. There's also another public footpath that takes you into another route into the centre of Pirton, just there, towards the church really. Crabtree Lane. Anyway, this is where we're going. I have to say it's April, and it's a very misty and chilly morning today. And actually, it's quite near walking across the fields today, but don't let that put you off. It's very rarely like this, and on a beautiful sunny morning this is an absolutely wonderful walk. Once you've made the short walk across the first field along the clearly defined footpath, you just come through to this gate here, through the hedgerows and bushes and so on, and it leads us out into more open fields now. And it's clearly signposted. And it's clearly signposted where you really shouldn't be going. I believe at one time the path a very long time ago, used to just go straight across the field, but with time it's turned into a footpath that goes around the edge of it. Makes sense really, in many ways. Ooh, it's a bitter cold morning today. It's 4 Celsius according to my weather app, but it feels a lot colder than that, probably or mainly because of the mist in the air. It does make things seem a lot cooler. Upside, of course, is when you go on walks when it's the weather's not quite so great, you've got the place to yourself usually. I might see the odd brave soul walking their dog this morning along here, but generally speaking, this is quite a quiet walk. I've walked it many times in all sorts of weather conditions and times of year, and you don't see too many people. Quite often see people go for a bit of a jog around here because it's quite flat and the surface is fairly good for running, I would say. That's something I do tend to see. Really is misty. This is where you kind of get a choice of which direction you want to go in, although I would go to the right as per the public footpath sign there. You can kind of go that way around the field there at the hedge, take a right turn and go around this field. Essentially you're just going around this field to the other side, to that right hand corner as we're looking, and just carry on this way. But I'm going to take the defined route. I found the other way is it's just the same, exactly the same. It's just I know people tend to run around it or walk around it with their dogs. The other route around the field over there, I've noticed, does get particularly muddy. And I'm not 100% sure if you're really actually supposed to be over there. Probably not, but I doubt there'd be a major problem if you did go that way, because it's you're not going to be trampling on any crops or anything like that. You'll just be walking on a path similar to the one here. I'm hoping that the sun will have poked through by the time I get back to Pirton. I'll be crossing over the border into Bedfordshire fairly soon, I think. Got no idea where the actual border runs along here. It seems to meander somewhat, and you go in and out of Hertfordshire and Bedfordshire on quite a regular basis. Not that that really matters. I really do enjoy walking this time of day when it's quiet. You can just hear the birds tweeting. There's very little other noise around to disturb the peace. Right, we're at the end of that first main field now, and it's quite clear which way you're supposed to go here. So we're continuing round to the left, and just along here on the left is where you would come out if you're taking that other turning further back there around the field. It's really quite open just along here, and feels like on a really, really windy day you would notice it. Today it's very still, and the mist is lifting slightly, which is good. Probably get that glorious moment fairly soon when the sun starts to poke through. This is a well signposted walk, this one actually. There's a few where these posts have rotted away or disappeared or fallen down, or something's happened to them. And as I did a few weeks back, I ended up on private land. And while I wasn't chased off by a angry farmer, I was approached and spoken to. And we had a nice chat, and where I'd gone wrong was explained to me, so I could go back the way I came and continue in the right direction. If you're not up to no good, then it's not normally a problem. People do take wrong turnings here and there. But generally speaking, the footpath signage, certainly in this part of the world, is pretty good. And of course there's the help with various apps you can go onto these days, Google Maps and so on and so forth, that will help you along your way also. There's certainly a lot of trail maps and hiking apps, I should say, that point you in the right direction. I suppose more importantly, tell you when you're going in the wrong direction. It's really quite deep drainage ditch there. I never noticed that quite as deep as that before. Must have been overgrown when I last came. Still early spring, so the grass and so on hasn't really built up quite so much. There's my arch nemesis that makes me sneeze. Once again, it's quite clear here which way you should be going. And that's nice little... allows the public to use it for the time being. That sounds a little ominous. We better get here quick, guys, before permission's withdrawn. I find it a bit of a shame that it has to be like that, and I guess it has to be like that for a reason, because the upkeep of footpaths probably gets more and more expensive every year, and also there are unfortunately people that come to these places and do things that they shouldn't do, much to the annoyance of the landowners and farmers and so on. I understand that, I get all that. It is a problem, and I can understand why permissions to cross lands get withdrawn from time to time. But anyway, it's still open now. And walk across this field, continuing on our way towards Shillington. This is sometimes the cause of problems relating to people straying into private land or parts of walks that the landowners don't want you to go on. It's signs like that, really, that have become covered in foliage, covered up. It looks like it's not particularly well fixed into the ground there, and you know, there are wags that sometimes think it's funny to move the signs around to point you in the wrong direction. So all of those things really can cause an issue. It's just, you know, you just need to be a little wary sometimes, and if it doesn't look like it's the right way to walk, then it probably isn't. Particularly on the quieter walks. The busier walks and the more defined walks, and walks where they've put down gravel or something like that to protect the pathway, a lot clearer. But ones like this, fairly quiet walks really. I've seen one person so far this morning, and that's it. But it is quite early still. It is easy to stray off the path accidentally. It is a lovely morning though, just walking along here in the mist. It's starting to lift a little bit more now. Probably doesn't really show it on the camera quite the same. of Shillington onto the high road here. And if you take a right turn up there, you come to some shops. There's a pub up there. It's a really nice church that's worth having a look around, and it's a pleasant little village actually, well worth spending an hour or so having a look around. But I'm not going to be doing that today. I'm going to take the left-hand route down the high road towards Apsley End, where the main road takes a left turn back towards Pirton. I shan't be walking along the main road because, one, there isn't really a defined footpath along there to walk on, so you're walking on the road, and cars do tend to go about 70 miles an hour along there, which can be a little bit dangerous to say the least. So we'll head down now to Apsley End and then pick up the path back towards Pirton. Hole there, should you be here at the right time of day to pop in for some refreshment. Much of a walk along the high road down to Apsley End. It's quite a busy road, but there is a footpath and it's pretty safe to walk along, so not a problem. I'd say it's about a quarter of a mile from where we left the path to where we're going to head off towards another path. And eventually you'll come to this area called Apsley End. It's quite a busy junction and there's lots of cars about, so hopefully you can hear me. The road to Pirton, back to Pirton, is over there to the left. Just there is the road from where we've just come at Shillington. And we're going to walk up here at Apsley End Road with the signposts towards Pegsdon and Hitchin, and then join the path on the left hand side just along here. Basically it just goes around the back of the farm over there and then runs parallel to this road all the way back to Pirton. And if you go that way, it leads you to Gravenhurst and Barton Maclay, and the Chiltern Cycleway continues that way. This is our walk today, up here and then back to Pirton. Just carrying on up Apsley End Road now towards the Crawford Arms pub, and then we'll be turning off fairly shortly and headed back in the direction of Pirton. As I say, if you carry on up this way you will eventually come to the small village of Pegsdon. It's got a pub there called The View, and it's called The View for a reason. If you go there you'll see what I mean, and there's some great walks that are possible to take from there also. I just had a slip of the tongue there and said Crawford Arms. I'll check that later, but I meant Musgrave Arms. Musgrave Arms, not Crawford Arms. I've got absolutely no idea, if I did say Crawford Arms, why I said that. But here it is anyway. Another good place to stop and grab yourself some refreshments. Right, well, here we are on the Apsley End Road in the direction of Pegsdon, and we're coming to the public footpath where we're going to take a turn off to the left here and head back to Pirton. So we're on the homeward leg now, although it's a couple of miles from here. Almost feels like you're heading into someone's back garden, this little bit, I always think, but it's definitely a public footpath. I think I'll rate the return leg from here back to Pirton as being more pleasurable than the outbound. I don't really know why, it just seems that way. Maybe because I'm heading back to the end, and the opportunity to sit down, have something to eat and drink and relax for a little bit. Who knows? It's that time of year. Spring lambs everywhere. Oh, look at them all. They're very curious. I think they must think I've got some more food for them, but they look happy enough over there. Most of them seem to be eating the food provided in those lovely scene in the morning. Anyway, let's carry on going. You kind of walk through the middle of a farm just here, so as with most farms, you stick to the path, and so usually some interesting stuff to see. There's a few stables around here as well, so you might see some horses. I'm around here this morning in there. Temperature's just starting to improve slightly. The sun's beginning to poke through. Not quite managed it yet, but the mist has more or less gone. And oh yeah, there we go. The sun's just starting to fight its way through the clouds now. So this coat I'm wearing will probably need to come off by the time I get back to Pirton. Right, once we've got through the farm here, start to go a bit out into the open country a little bit more now. Nice little seat here to sit on. I came down here one summer, just sat down there. I was inundated with wasps, so there must have been a nest very close by at the time. That's all about. Yeah, once you leave that area where the farm is, the pastures and where the sheep were, and you just go back out into open fields now. And we're heading back across here towards Pirton. Very pleasant across here, very quiet. Again, you won't see too many people. It's only 8 o'clock in the morning now, and it's a weekday, so there's doesn't tend to be that many people about. Come at the weekend, you'll see a few more, but it's a nice, pleasant place to walk in peace and quiet. Shillington's really just over the hill there. And the main road between Shillington and Pirton is just over the top of the hill there. And we're kind of walking parallel to it now. And this road will eventually join up with that road just as we enter Pirton. I've actually seen a little muntjac running around over there. That's about as... There he goes. That's about as good as you get. If you get any closer than that, you're doing really, really well. It's really quite eerie over there. You can just see in the distance the Pirton water tower just emerging from the mist. Looks like those tripod Martians from the Star Wars movie. Bit of blue sky actually just appearing up there as well, so it looks like it's going to be a nice day again when it finally gets going later on. I felt eyes on me as I was walking along, and then I suddenly noticed those guys there. Right, well, we're coming to the end of the path that's away from the road, and essentially we're back to Pirton now. I'll continue through Pirton back to where we started at the Fox pub. Just take a walk, a different route back through the village. We come out here onto the Shillington Road, which is where we turned off down the path initially in Pirton. This is just further around and just outside of the village at Rectory Farm. Ooh, yeah, I've gone the wrong way now. That's right. This is the other end of the road at Apsley End. This is the walk to Apsley End. And you just follow this clearly marked path next to the road back into the village. A lot of work goes on around this village because a lot of litter unfortunately gets thrown out of car windows or finds their way into these drainage ditches. So we quite often have litter picking sessions on a Sunday morning, which is absolutely fantastic. A fantastic effort to keep these things clear, because I've been past here before and it's been a disgrace. I just cannot get my head around why people throw stuff out of car windows into ditches like that, but it happens, unfortunately. But it's looking pretty good. I know one was done fairly recently, and there hasn't been a build-up yet of any more. Right, we're just coming to the junction between Shillington Road and Priors Hill. You can walk up Priors Hill up towards the water tower, but it can be a little bit tricky with the traffic on there. There's no real footpath as such. You're probably better off carrying on into the village this way. Across the road. And back onto a regular footpath just here. I used to run up there back in the day. And back onto the area of Shillington Road where I took the path off to the right towards Shillington earlier on, just by this barn. And I'm going to take this public footpath back into the village via this route onto Crabtree Lane and back down to the Fox Public House. Right, back onto Walnut Tree Road now. Right into the centre of Pirton. Just come up on the right hand side to the church and the churchyard. Some gorgeous little cottages straight ahead, and then just as we turn around this corner, at the end, we will be back at the Fox Pub where we started about 2 hours ago. Well, it's been a very leisurely stroll this morning. Plenty of stops along the way just to admire the scenery and take a breather here and there. I would have preferred it to be slightly warmer than this. It is really quite a nip in the air, certainly at the beginning when there was all the mist that started to clear now and the sun's just poking through, so it's all warming up a little bit now. At the end of the walk, and I've just checked my GPS stepometer and so on, and it was pretty much on the dot. 5 miles, 12,000 steps, and I didn't walk particularly quickly this morning. That's taken approximately 2 hours, but that was a lovely walk. I'm going back home now for a cup of tea.